This. All right.
Yeah, we're
And
live.
we're getting there. It's three, two, one. All right. Welcome to Beat Selector Magazine. On the rise, the conversation continue. I'm your host, Vladimir Jean-Philippe, and today joining me is Tommy Vamoz. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. So go ahead and correct me if I'm not.
Very well.
Oh, thank you. I've been practicing. And I found something very interesting is that you're based out of the Netherlands, correct?
That's very correct. Yeah, man. From
Oh,
Alpha. Yes.
could you repeat that for me? The how you pronounce that?
Yeah, I live in Alphen aan den Rijn, close to Amsterdam City.
Ah, okay. See, I was practicing all night, and you said it way better than I could ever say it, so I'm not going to even butcher it and try. But I found it interesting. Okay, my first question is like I've this is my first time being introduced to the Netherlands hip hop scene, right? So
Uh,
how is the Netherlands hip hop scene, and could you give us like a brief description of it?
I think it's a really big scene. I'm not
Oh wow, okay.
focusing, but I'm not focusing on the Dutch scene, to be honest.
Mm.
Um,
Okay, so what's the
more,
scene that you're most focusing on?
more overseas, like America, and more my own scene. Just beat making and the people who love my beats join the team and join the trip, and that's what I'm focusing on. And not really much. I hear dope tracks also from the Netherlands or from overseas, from everywhere, but I'm not so in the scene, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Because I find it interesting because to me, I grew up with hip hop as a young kid in the Brooklyn, New York. So I always think of hip hop as like an American culture and just that. And then recently, I just discovered the UK rap scene
Oh
with
yeah.
Stormzy, Burna Boy, and Georgia Smith. She's more R&B than rap, but I've started discovering
No,
them and man, have I fell in love with their style, especially Stormzy. I'm a huge fan of Stormzy now, and my favorite song of his is "Own It," and I love that song by Stormzy. So, how do you like? Can you like kind of give me a brief description of like how you fell into the hip hop scene? Since it's like I look at it as more of an American thing. How did you discover hip hop?
I discovered it at a young age. Listening to the radio. There was, I think, an Amsterdam-based radio station called Q the Beat, and it
Okay.
was with Glaze as DJ. And I heard the dopest tracks I never heard of from the States. And as a kid, I taped it on cassette. That's
Hmm.
how I fell in love with hip hop, and started doing breakdancing and graffiti stuff and making beats,
Oh
of course.
wow.
Yeah, so try to do all the elements and taste it.
Okay, so you say you fell in love with the breaks dancing style. So it's
Yeah,
interesting that you say that because there is an element of like the '90s classic element in your hip hop. Is that like your biggest influence for everything that you've done? Is it the '90s classic hip hop that really influenced your style?
yeah, of course. That's the main ingredient. And I think the 90s sounds, the early
Hmm.
90s, 94, 95, 96, that's the sound I want to achieve. And
Mm.
what, yeah,
Well, you
man.
are achieving it because listening to your beats, like I was like, oh wow, I'm getting an old school vibe of like Nas. I hear Wu Tang samples. I hear MOP samples, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, this is like taking me back to my childhood. And then here it is, you remixing them and stuff like that. So, what
Yeah.
inspired you to continue to take the '90s hip hop style and infuse it into 2021 when everything is shifting to digital and everything like that? What made you stick with the '90s style?
Well, it's also I put a little message in it,
Hmm.
because the beats is just one thing, but I put also vocals from rap MC from the 90s in it. So
Hmm.
people who know their 90s hip hop knows exactly, oh, that's that track, that song, and,
Yeah.
and that's a cool thing, just reminiscing and keep it
Yeah.
alive.
Well, You definitely are keeping it alive, and I'm hearing all of that in all of your songs because, like your latest song, with Six Man featuring El De Sensei, called
Yeah,
Snake Shit. I
yeah.
was jamming to that like while I was researching you. That song was playing in a loop in the background for me, and it really has a heavy. Oh, there
Oh,
it is. Go ahead and.
there it is.
Oh
That's
my
the whole
goodness
track.
gracious!
That's
This
the whole
man
track.
has this man has 3.5 disc floppies. Why is okay? So that makes me. I'm gonna ask this question first, and I'm gonna come back to the floppies because you just threw me off track with that. I love that. But so what? I hear the Nas. I hear the. It's more of a Nas Illmatic kind of sound. Is that like a fair assessment to say that like that's what inspired that track? The Six Man featuring El De Sensei, Snake Shit. Is that the Nas, the Busta Rhymes? Did that influence or heavily influence this track?
You could say it afterwards it's influence because I never made it with the thought I make it like Basta or
Okay.
something, but it has the sounds because I love the way they used to sample the tracks back in the days. You know,
Mm.
and that's what I try to achieve, and that's why it sounds like then. But now,
Okay, so now that you're saying that you used to sample, like, do you still own record players then?
yeah, that's the right player, and you know,
Okay, and then because it's like I was looking through your Instagram and I saw your vast collection. Like you have a big collection of record players,
yeah,
right?
oh,
And of records, I should say. And how
yeah.
do you? What is like behind in your mind? What happens? Like, what makes you think? Okay, I'm gonna go through. Like, do you just go through your records and like kind of like skim through and it's like, oh, okay, this person sounds like this would be an interesting thing to do, or like, what's the process in there? Like, what do you do to get your inspiration?
Well, it's actually just the records I got from the record store or from a pawn shop or online from Discogs or whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, I just put it on and listen to it. And if I hear a dope sample, that sample takes me to the vibe I want to get. That,
Mm.
that's
Okay.
what it takes to make the beat, you know. And
Yeah.
sometimes I have in mind, oh yeah, I want to make a beat like Nas Illmatic, but I can't find a sample that's fitting in there like that vibe, you know. So then it's gonna be maybe a Busta vibe or something like that,
Mm.
and that's good.
Okay. So I've seen on the on your Instagram and Facebook as actually that your favorite. It seems to me, anyways, like you didn't mention this specifically, but to me, as I'm looking at it, it looks like the MPC 2000 is your favorite piece of equipment to use because you just broke out the 3.5 floppy disk and I haven't seen one of those things since like what 2001 2002ish, right? And then all of a sudden you busted out like the whole track was on six. It looks like it was six or seven of those things. What is it about that piece of equipment that makes it like drawn to you? Like why do you keep a hold of that piece of equipment?
Well, it's not typical the MPC 2000.
Okay.
I, it was my main piece of equipment to make beats on, the heart of the studio. But then I got the MPC 60, an older version, 12-bit.
Hmm.
That's my new love, man. And
So you make all your beats on that thing then?
yeah,
Or is it like a combination of everything?
yeah, it's all a combination because it's quite a hassle to chop the samples on the MPC 60. So
Hmm.
first I record everything into the 2000 because you have a screen, you can see the waveforms of the sample and chop it like that. And then I record it into the MPC 60 because of the sound of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I would say so because it's to me it makes your it gives your soundtracks or your songs like a very crisp old school sound. And I also noticed that you have a reel to reel recorder. Okay, so that's like really old school as well too. So with the reel to reel, it gives it that little crispy noise, right? Like that little I don't know how to describe it, but it sounds like Rice Krispies a little bit. So why did you decide to keep that and implement that in your style? Because that's
But
very unique.
yeah, but also a funny story because before I had the MPC 60, I worked on the MPC 2000, and
Hmm.
if I want to save a beat, it takes a lot of floppies. It takes a lot of time. It's a headache, I can tell you. So what I did is I made the whole beat on it, and I recorded it on the reel to reel. So
Mm.
I can play it back through my console and mix it then, so I don't have to restart the MPC or save it and reload it from floppies. It's just, yeah, like that.
It's okay, okay. So it's more simple. That is more simple for you then, because I thought it was just kind of like a style thing that you stuck to,
Also,
right?
also,
Because
yeah,
okay, okay, but mostly, but also a. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
because
Uh,
the beautiful thing of tape is when you push the drums hard on the record, it, it,
mhm.
it, it gives a kind of compression thing, and
Mm,
it also shapes the sound. So
interesting.
that's what I use it for.
Okay, so
So
you use it more. So it's
both
like
things.
multifunctional tool.
Yes, yeah. It's an eight
Hey,
track. Yeah, it's an 8-track reel to reel. So I go 8 tracks out from the MPC, 8 tracks on the reel to reel, and 8 tracks on the console. So I've the hi hats, the kicks, the snare, everything is separated. So I can tweak it for as far as I want. It's
oh,
endless.
okay. So that leads me then to my next question then is how do you take all of that stuff, because it sounds like it's like on different things, like you have it on your MPC 2000 and your MPC 60, and then you kind of record it on the reel to reel a little bit. So how do you take all of that information and transfer it into a more modernized thing so you can, like, say a computer or
Yeah,
your to make this track? How does that process go? Could you explain that to us for a little bit?
yeah, yeah. When I make the beat on my MPC 60, for example, uh, then I record the whole beat, mostly two verses, on my reel to reel, and
Hmm.
from there I just recorded the 8 tracks separated by my interface into my DAW, Cubase. So and from there I start mixing it to a song. So I did a lot
Yeah.
of analog processing and then just small adjustments like EQ, things I don't like, sound just lower, some things higher. Yeah, to make it a complete beat.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's a very I don't want to say extensive process because you enjoy doing it, but it sounds like it takes a little bit time to get
Yeah,
everything going from one spot to the next spot to the next spot to the next spot. Is that a fair assessment?
yeah, but the cool thing is I have the time.
Okay, so you do this full time and all day every day. That was my next question. So, like, do you take any time off in the studio, or is it like every day grind?
Mostly in the evening. I have a full-time job. I work at a hospital, but
Hmm.
and end of the day when I'm home from work, I have my family time. Yeah, I go upstairs into my lab and create a beat and try to do as much things in one evening in a few hours. Just make a beat, record it, mix it, and
Hmm.
try to master it. Just to make one beat, one finished product in one evening,
Okay.
and and shoot the video for my Instagram just because I just love to, yeah, put it on the medias.
Okay, but that's also interesting too because like your equipment is so not old school, but like
Yeah,
it's kind of old school, right? Your equipment is old
a
school,
lot of
but then
people just
you're
yeah.
very yeah, but then you're still very active on social media, like you're posting on social media too. So that's
Yeah,
like pretty interesting. Like to me, it's a beautiful blend of like the old and the new, and I think that's how it should be, like or
yeah,
how it should have been. You know what I mean?
yeah. And I just love knobs, faders, buttons, and also for Instagram. I love to watch music videos from beat makers who do it with lots of stuff. It's
Hmm.
interesting and inspiring. So I hope I can inspire a lot of people too when they watch my movies. That's the whole thing I do it for.
Yeah. So you do it for the next generation on down then. So you're kind of like, I'm doing this because I fell in love with this and then I want to put the product out there so the next person can fall in love with it. Is that cool to say?
Yeah, but also people from my generation or people who are making beats right now,
Hmm.
everything. And when they get inspired, I chat with them, about care, about how to make beats, how to chop the samples, all those things. It's very cool, it's a big
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, it really is a big community, and it's one of the communities I thought would be more in competition. Well, I guess you guys are in competition because you have that ego sense, right? Like, oh, I'm the best, and then you'll get on your thing. But like, how could you give me like a insight to the community? Like, how close knit are you guys? Like, do you work with everybody, or there's like, if you want to say work with this person, do you just call them up, hit them up on Instagram? Like, how does that community interact with each other?
I don't work like that, I have to say. It's just I'm really on my own, and I work a
Okay.
lot with men. Um, yeah, I just love to make beats and put it out into the world. And well, I interact with people who are also gearheads, work sample based, work with the 60 pads. From there, I start just to chat. And I have to say, without the media, I'm just a dude in a room with a studio that nobody knows about, right?
That's very true. True. Yeah, that's very true too. Because that would be an interesting thing if the fans wasn't as engaging as they are. So you pretty much have to rely on the fans, and the fans don't realize how important of a role they play in what we do, and they need to acknowledge that, embrace it, and kind of deal with that. But I wanted to get to ask you: do you travel a lot? Because I saw
No,
an
no.
Instagram post where you was in what was it, Jeong, South Korea, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but that's the beautiful thing of Instagram. You can place tag the fuck out anywhere. I,
Okay.
I can take my studio with me. It stays where it is, and that's how it is. If I want to be in South Korea, oh yeah, put a tag on that.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
That's how it works. If I want to um, connect with people from Detroit, because Detroit has a lot of dope MCs. I place tag
Oh
in
yeah, they do.
Detroit. You know,
That,
that's why
yeah.
that's why I'm a lot of the time in Detroit, but not really. But I'm in Detroit.
All right, that explains that because I was gonna ask because I saw in your like when I was looking through your Facebook feeds and then looking at the date and times, and I'm just like, man, this guy was in the Netherlands one day on Monday, and then he's in Detroit on Tuesday, and then he travels out to South Korea on a Thursday. I'm like, damn, this guy must travel a lot. So, but here it is, you just tagging.
But it's funny how you think I'm everywhere.
I love it though. I love that creativity. I love that ingenuity because I would have never thought to just tag myself somewhere. You know what I mean? I figured you always have to be there to tag yourself there. So that's really that's really interesting. So I want to get into a little bit of a live beat making session for you. I want to know and I want you to show us the
Yeah,
well like how does it go from your brain to like, all right, I'm thinking of this beat. What do I go look for? And then, just talk us through the process. Then, the floor is yours. You can take as much time to do as whatever you want. So go ahead, brother. It's all you.
yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all how I made a beat last night. I prepared it, so it's not live beat making, but it's breaking it down. Uh, for the beat, I used
Hmm.
two records. One is the drums. We don't recognize the sleeve. It's just an ordinary sleeve. But the drums I've used, let me show you. Impeach the President, the Honey Drippers. Everybody knows it from Nas, I Can. And I used a record from Kids. It's called, oh,
There we go.
yes, this is the record I've used, Dickety Dad. it's a song by Kid, but it's not the song Dickie Depp. It's another song I don't know, but I heard the intro of it and it's sick. So I'm gonna play it. Just set it up. It's... All right, let me check it.
If you're just tuning in with us, you're watching Beat Selector Magazine on the Rise. The conversation continues. We are with Tommy Vamoz, and he is showing us how he goes through his beats. So take it away, Tommy.
So as you hear, this is the record. I'm gonna play it. That's the whole sample. So what I did, I recorded it on the MPC 2000, chopped it, and I put it into the MPC 60. So then you have, check. Where is it? Sample. Slowed it down. And what I did, I took the drums from Impeach President. I recorded it into the MPC 60 as one shot. So what you get is the kicks, snares, and the hi-hats. I made a loop of it. Let me check it. There. Put a sample over it. So that's the framework. And what I did, I just recorded a bass. Check. This one. Another bass. Put it just on the one. You get some extra bass under the sample.
Oh wow!
And from there, I just chopped some flutes of it and put it also under it. You can hear the samples. But I wasn't finished with that beat, so I, like I said, I love to put some vocals over it, and I just got some beat nuts vocals.
Homicide.
It says homicide.
Musically orchestrated.
It's from the track Simple Murder. So I put that over it with some scratches. I record. Then it sounds like this.
Homicide, musically orchestrated. Homicide.
Oh wow!
Musically orchestrated. Homicide. Homicide, musically orchestrated. Homicide. Homicide, musically orchestrated. Homicide. Homicide, musically orchestrated. Homicide.
So it's basically it. It's not much, you know, but it brings a lot of vibes. And by putting the right MC on it, you know, that's how you make a track. And you know, for the gearheads, I work with a lot of hardware, so I'm gonna just get this thing and I'm gonna show you what I'm using. It's a mirror camera. It's always fun. So everything to do the opposite way. But yes,
There we go.
yes, uh, I'm do a lot of patch work, like you see, a lot of patch cables. All my hardware is connected to the patch bay, and my routing for this beat is like this. I do the kick drum first through an equalizer. This is an old
Hmm.
one with a lot of good circuits in it, so you can do a lot of cool shit with it. And then I route it through my warm audio compressor. That's a clone of the Uri 1176, famous compressor. And that's actually what I used for the kick. And for the snare, I used the DBX 160 XT, also a famous compressor, works really well. And I have some parallel processing for the drums, for the kick and snare on it. That's the Dynamite compressor for some extra spank, and some hi-hats on it on the other side. And I hope y'all can see it. There's
There we go.
yeah, a
That is per.
TL audio compressor. I put the vocals on it just for the level match. Not really compression. It does compression, but it's more to make it fit nice in the mix. And
Hmm.
then I have the sample with the flute in it. There's also a bass in it, so I enhance it with the SPL vitalizer. It's wonderful to use it to bring out the low notes and some high frequencies, and that's about it. And then, as you can see, the console, you can see it always in my Instagram or Facebook movies. That's my workflow. I put every sound under it. You can see it. The hairs, the snares, the kicks, sample, flutes, the bass, and the vocals from the beat notes. It's all under one fader, and
Uh-huh.
and that's how I sequence my beats. So if I put everything down, play, you know, here we get the hi hats. Yep, we got the drums.
Yeah.
Some equalizing also on the desk itself, just a little.
Oh wow.
Musically orchestrate homicide.
Just like that. Just
Yeah.
flipping the faders and make it a full sequence.
That is pretty. That was awesome insight. So when you go to your little console there, do you have like your like when you where you marked all the things in your songs? Do you have them separated in like um, do you have them predetermined, or do you like have the sample and then you know what they are and then you write them down, or do you like kind of do them like way ahead of time? You know what I mean? Or do you do them like as you're working on the samples?
Uh, Actually, I have almost all my sounds from every beat on
Mm-hmm.
the same fader. The hi-hats
Okay.
under the same fader, and that's because I just modified my console.
Yeah.
Every channel strip is modified with a lot of better capacitors, better chips in it. So the first the hi-hats I didn't modify it well. To be honest, I fucked it up.
Mm.
So low in it. So I thought, well, for the hi-hats, I don't need low frequency, so I leave it that way. So that's why this channel strip is for the hi-hats, and
Okay.
the rest is okay, it's fine. So every channel strip has its own character because there are in one channel strip is another chip different than the other channel strip. So it's yeah, I checked it out. What sounds the best for which sound? So yeah, the conclusion was okay. The first one is for the heads, second for the snare, third for the kick, and so on and so on. So every beat I made is under the same fader. So the drums are under the same faders. Just
Okay, so you keep
different.
everything streamlined and simple to and ready to access.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and everything is connected. So I can go from uh, my console. I can go straight to reel, or
Hmm.
straight to my DAW, or from my DAW to my console and back to my reel to reel, or whatever. I'm flexible, I can go
Yeah.
everywhere, and it's
Yeah,
cool.
and that's pretty cool because like that's an interesting setup because a lot of the times, like especially in modern times, a lot of newer producers or even like ones that's in the game have like legitimately just maybe a laptop. So to
Yeah,
see you have like all this equipment and it looks like you spent a lot of time and monies to like kind of develop everything the way you want it specifically. So like I just wanted to know like how much time did you put into all of this because it looks like it's been like a project over like decades or so.
yeah, it's a big project. It's a project that's never finished.
Mm,
The the curse of being a gearhead. It's you always want gear. No,
yeah. Is
uh,
there anything that like you looking at updating, or are you satisfied with what you have right now?
I'm always satisfied with what I have, but I'm always looking further for maybe another equalizer for shaping the sound a different way. Because
Okay.
the beautiful thing of hardware, it has its own soul, its own sound, and
Yeah.
uh, you have laptop producers, they buy plugins. I buy
Mm,
hardware. It's the same thing, but I
okay.
touch it.
Yeah. So you're more of a tactful person. Like you have to have your hands on it, touch it, feel with it, play with it, like put the volume up, put the volume down, adjust it to where you want it, as opposed to just kind of like put it on a computer and letting the computer do well, not do most of the work, but like letting the computer automatically do it for you.
Yes, yeah, I want to work, I want to feel it, and that's the way to express myself, I think.
Okay, so you music is more so your art form is more of expressive than it is more of like it's like, all right, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I'm projecting to the world. Is that fair to kind of say?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
that's when you hear the beats, that's my vibe, my mind state at that time that I made the beat.
Mm,
So
that's
yeah,
interesting.
it's just feelings, emotions, and the funny thing is, when I made it from this beat, I also was chilling, but it doesn't
Hmm.
sound like chilling beat, and
Mm,
that's funny, and everybody is interpreting it different. That's
hmm.
also a cool thing. So
Yeah. Like I like the fact that music is open to interpretation for the person's mood or anything like that. Because when I'm in a foul mood, I like a chill beat to kind of bring me back down to earth a little bit. And then if
yeah,
I'm chilling, I like a upbeat kind of song to kind of like get me ready to like go do something else. And if I'm
yeah,
working out, I need that 100, what I mean, I need my heartbeat up. I need that 90 beats per minute kind of hit. You know what I mean, or higher.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
just like you try to get amped. So how do you control what sounds come out in that session? Do you just kind of like go with the vibe, or do you kind of like come in predetermined, like, okay, today I'm going to do this, and then I want to do only focus on this, or do you have like what's that process like?
It goes both ways. It also depends on the sample.
Mm-hmm.
You can slow down the sample and make it more grimy if you want, or pitch it up. And yeah, you got more BPM, you got a faster beat, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just what sounds right at that moment. Because the sample you just heard of the flute, I can also pitch it up and make another banger with it, just a
Yeah.
different style. But at that moment, I was like, because I also made it, this beat is right now 94 BPM, but
Mm-hmm.
I started with 104 BPM.
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah, but I pitched a sample and I was like, it's too fast and it doesn't fit my vibe at that moment. So I just slowed it down.
Mm,
And
okay.
down. So it gives a different sound, you know?
Yeah.
And
So
that's the beautiful thing of work with music and samples, you know? You can tweak it just the way you want.
yeah, yeah, that interpret open to interpretation thing is a wonderful thing because it really lets you express yourself in however manner you want to. And do you take a sense of gratification or a sense of pride that you can control the way the beat is going? And like, do you take pride in like, okay, I want these people to dance as hard as they can, and then I'm going to make a track that's hard and fast. Like, do you take satisfaction in controlling the rhythm of this track that you're making?
I think it's more the satisfaction of the experience that I have now with
Mm,
beat making. So more the satisfaction of creating the beat that I want to create.
gotcha. Okay, that's fair to say. So, with that being said, then, is there any artist or any other producers or anybody out there that you would like to collaborate with in the future?
In the future, Jay Dilla.
Oh, okay. What about what about Jay Dilla that
He-
makes it like that makes you want to work with him?
well, he's not here anymore, so that's a sad thing. But
Uh,
he's the master of flipping samples and work on NPCs. You know,
mm,
he's my inspiration, but also DJ Premier, Darissa, Timbaland, Pete Rock, Ayatollah, a lot of cats from the '90s who are.
mm.
A lot of years also in the game because they are my inspiration. Yeah, of course I want to work with them, but I also work for myself because it's my we say that it's my expression, and,
Okay.
that's what I need to do as much as possible. Just express myself in the beats because I love to make beats, and yeah, if people like it and want to use it,
Mm.
it's that's all good.
So okay, I know that video games right now is where a lot of producers are heading into. Do you see yourself doing the exact same thing, or is it some avenue that you kind of try to avoid? Like, what's your take on like the video game industry coming to producers? And well, what's your take on industry of the video game industry and producers working together? Like, how do you feel about it? And like, is it something you would like to do?
Well, first of all, I think it's a beautiful thing, you know. Yeah, if it goes well, it goes well, you know. But it depends on every producer's choice. If that's your goal, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, and at this moment, that's not my goal.
Okay.
Uh, and my goal is just to perfect my sound, you know, to more polish it, make better mixes. I'm still learning, you know.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm focusing on. Plus, I have this MPC 60 now for maybe 1 or 2 months, so I'm still learning to get a new workflow. So that takes a lot of time, and
Hmm.
I think also my journey is to understand uh, the, the vintage hardware units. You know, how do
Hmm.
they work? How do they sound? Because they
Yeah.
all have a different sound, and uh, I, I try to understand why are the pros using this compressor or that EQ, or you know, I try to understand the sonics of the hardware.
Oh
That's
wow.
what is
Okay.
interesting. It's not that I need to make uh, five records a year or sell
Mm.
this that beats. No, I'm not in that competition. You know that gives me
Mm.
strength, or I don't need to push myself in that way. You know,
Mm.
because if I can make my beats and I can perfect it and make it sound like it's dope and it's in the ballpark, it
Hmm.
it, it will come by itself. You know,
Yeah.
people want that beat and no rush.
Huh. So wow, that's a very interesting take on it because it sounds like you have more of a philosophical relationship with your sounds and with your work and your art instead of like, I just want to make money off of this. It's like, I mean, everybody does want to make money off of their passion, let's be honest. But for you, it looks like it's just more of a philosophical passion. Like you're curious as to why this works this way. Why is this way? Why do I turn this down and this goes up? You know what I mean? So is that where you are taking your ideas and your inspiration going forward?
Yes, yes. First of all, I do it for myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't love my work for myself, then I cannot put it outside on the media.
Mm-hmm. That's
I'm
interesting.
I'm not putting it outside just to sell it and to do nothing with it, or yeah, that's not my goal, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I cannot stress about not selling or not being on top right now or make it a full-time job is just because I already have a full-time job I enjoy, and
Ah.
you know, I, I I can express myself here, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm also thinking about if I will do this full time. I don't know, man. If you know, it sounds beautiful, like make beats every day, but I don't know if I want to do it every day. Then maybe my passion will go down the drain because
Mm.
you also need to uh, fill up uh, the bottle to express yourself.
Yeah.
If the
And
bottle is empty, you cannot express, and I don't know if that will work for me.
got you. So you're okay. So it sounds like for you, you don't want the burnout that comes with the everyday grind of making a
Yeah.
beat. And I have to do this. I have to find a deadline. I have to make this. You're
Yes.
doing it more or less for the freedom of expression, or I like to say the freedom of flight, right? Because you just want to do it
Yeah.
because you like doing it. Is that
Yes.
like the best way to put that?
Yeah. Correct, man.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to understand it. Because trust me, I totally understand where you're coming from. Because for me, it's fighting, right? I love like my passion is like MMA fighting, like understanding how to punch and kick and like where to hit somebody to make the maximum impact, or how to like if they stick their arm out a certain way, how to catch that that
Yeah.
submission. So it's just for me, it's just fun to do, and then it's like I know that when I put time and grind, it gets to a point where it's just like, man, I don't want to do this no more. So you know what I mean. So I totally understand where you get into with the whole burnout issue. So and I'm kind of glad you're doing it this way because so far your beat sounds fire, man. It's like very for me. It's very it's it's taking me back to my childhood when I first heard a Nas album, or if I heard a Wu Tang album, and I'm just like, oh man, wow. Like I can remember myself sitting in my room with my brother playing Nintendo, what I mean, listening to hip hop music, and that's the vibe that I'm getting. And I'm like, I'm
That's what I'm doing
totally,
it for, you know. That's what I'm doing it
yeah,
for. Just to bring the vibes to you, you know. So you start
yeah.
reminiscing. How cool is that? You know?
Bruh, that is really awesome because like the like I said, the Sixth Man song, the song with Sixth Man and featuring El Decide, like that song was pretty to me. I was just like, oh man, that brings me back a little bit because then I was looking through your Instagram and you was mixing some Nas songs and I was like, whoa, like that was pretty wild because like I grew up on Nas, so that like really flooded some memories back, and so I was just like, man, this guy's he knows what he's doing. So I really appreciate it, man. So where do you see yourself going forward then? Because it sounds like you're not trying to get big off of this. So like, what's the next big project for you then? Like, what do you see yourself doing?
Get more gear. Uh, well, just uh, make my beats more perfect and learn more about mixing audio, master it
Hmm.
myself. Yeah, master the MPC 60,
Hmm.
uh, and also make tracks, no doubt, you know, but not just with everybody. You know, I work a lot with my brother Six Man. He's from Grand Rapids, you know.
Hmm.
So, yeah, he's one of the illest I know. So yeah, I work with him. He just released the album, The Fix. should check it. You
Yeah.
know, I produced the whole tape, and
Oh wait, you produced the entire album?
yeah, man. Also big names on it like Elder Sensei, General Steel from Smith and Wesson. You know, so
Yeah.
big names, and yeah, that's for me like back in the days, DJ Premier and Guru. You know, just like a team. That's how I see
Yeah.
that collaboration, and that's what we're gonna do right now. So we're gonna make a new tape and
Nice.
make people crazy. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. Like I really in like I really like that. You know what I mean? So like, you keep saying like you want to learn more? Like, where do you go to learn more? Like, where is your source of information? Is it like like trial and error? Is it like reading stuff online? Is it school? Like, where do you go to get that information that to seek that knowledge? Like, where do you go to find it?
Yeah. It's first of all trial and error for life. You
Mhm.
know, fucked up a lot of beats. And you know, it's also by understanding and learning by just tweaking knobs, how it sounds. From you know, if I turn it to the right, what does it do? You know, just
Mhm.
listen. And also YouTube, you know, tutorials, big time.
There's always YouTube.
Yeah, you know that's a great source. So
Okay.
why shouldn't I use it? You know, it's free.
That's very true too. Are you do you ever think about producing your own like little like how to YouTube channel, or do you already have one?
Yeah, I just have a YouTube channel. Just started using it. I have it already for 10 years, but you just once in a year put a beat on, and that's cool. But now everything I put on my Instagram, I also put it on my YouTube, just
Hmm.
because Instagram is fucked up with algorithms and stuff. So I also put it on YouTube
Yeah.
to engage more people.
Have you ever thought of like uh just kind of like what is it? I was trying to say like just kind of like starting like your own little Facebook live too, like jam sessions. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Just kind of like just popping on Facebook and just kind of like, hey guys, just rock with me for a minute, or is it like that's too much for you?
for me, that's too much because when I make beats, I'm also in my own zone, you know, and
Okay. So you
it's
don't really care much for the whole attention thing.
oh man, I don't care. It's private.
Gotcha. Touche, man. Touche. I don't blame. I don't blame you. So, but yeah, I think the way you're like talking about music. I really find it fascinating the philosophical aspect of it because you're always searching for knowledge. I think you would be like it would be beneficial to you to kind of like do like a little how-to video because the best way to understand something is to teach it, right? So like why not just like teach other people how to be a producer, how to make beats, how to sample things and put it together? Like why not take that route?
Yes, I will do that in the future, of course. I'm planning an interview with another dude from the Netherlands. It's called
Nice. Okay.
Drumstick, and he's also doing yeah the beat sessions. So yeah,
Hmm.
I'm planning to do with him a session. So stay tuned for that.
Hey, all right. I'll be looking out. So I just wanted one more thing, and it looks like you're a big Michael Jordan fan. I have to get that in there because I saw it on some of your equipment. Are you a huge Michael Jordan fan?
Oh, it's just a sticker. You know,
Ah,
I looked at
okay.
that before, but it fits very well on the 2000.
Okay, all right. Because I saw it there, and I was just like, "Oh, you must be a big MJ fan." So I guess I was wrong. So that's hey, I took a shot, you know. So any was that?
I don't have time to watch a lot of games, you know. I'm
Mhm.
more into the pets, you know.
Okay, so your music takes up a lot of your hobby time then, and
Yeah,
then there's family time, and trust me, I know how important that is because you have to get
yeah,
that in, otherwise the
that's
missus is
first
mad at
place.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, so trust me, I understand. And then when you get that one-on-one hobby time, that me time, trust me, I totally understand. Like you just wanted to do your music and that's it. Trust me. So I
yeah,
really appreciate you coming on here and sharing some insights and sharing some beat making and giving us a look into how you do this stuff. Because for me, it's really interesting because I like doing what I do, but I cannot explain it too well to others. And so to kind of like look at somebody's passion and look at how they do their thing, for me, it's like, wow, it's fascinating. So I really appreciate you coming on here, man. So
You're welcome, man. I enjoyed it. My
yeah,
first interview ever, you know.
oh, hey, man! This is you're my fourth one, so I'm kind of I'm learning how to do this, and I'm getting over the anxiousness as well too. So I really appreciate you, and I'm glad you had fun because I really enjoyed listening to you talk about your passions and really kind of share that with me because I can hear it. You know what I mean? It's like it's like I really hear. It's like, man, this is just I just want to do this for me. I don't care about nobody else. I just want this for me, and you're making fire stuff with it. So I really appreciate you doing that, man. So is there any like project shout outs or anything else you want to like kind of throw out there that you want the people to know?
First of all, check out the Fix by my brother Six Man. You know, it's insane album. You should check it. You know, and for the second, watch my big videos, something like that.
Okay, so where can the people get a hold of you? Like, what's your social media handle so that people can find you and kind of follow you some more, if you want that?
Yeah, of course. Just at Tommy Vamoz.
Nice. Okay, and it's on Tommy Vamoz on all of them.
Yes, easy as that. Everything.
Nice. I like it. Simple and straight to the point.
Yes.
What was that?
Yeah, like, you know, Facebook Tommy Vamoz, YouTube Tommy Vamoz, everywhere. You know.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, man. So wow, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, thank you for joining me today. This is Beat Selector Magazine on the rise. The conversation continue. We had Tommy Vamoz with us, and he gave us some insight on some beat making, how he comes with this stuff, and he showed us some really dope stuff. And it's really good. I suggest everybody else go out there and check out his stuff. His Facebook his social media handles is at Tommy Vamoz. He kept it nice and simple. So just go look up Tommy Vamoz, whatever platform you are, and you'll find my man, and you'll find his work as well. So I'm Vladimir Jean-Philippe. This is Beat Selector Magazine. Check out the latest issue coming out on Friday. That is this Friday. The latest issue of Beat Selector Magazine is coming out. So be sure to take a look at that as well. I'm your boy Vladimir Jean-Philippe. With me is Tommy Vamoz. Tommy, I'm so happy you came with me on live. I really enjoyed our time together. Is there any last remarks you want to give the people before we head out?
I just want to say thank you for watching.
Hey, enjoy. I really appreciate you. And everybody else, much love. Be nice to one another. All right, we out. Peace.